Zeno, what's up, man? It's kind of
Yeah.
early. What's good with you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I woke up, did some grocery shopping, and since I was up, I decided to go watch WandaVision. What about you?
Actually, I got up early, took the kids to school, and then I decided, you know what? I got a couple hours. I'm gonna watch WandaVision too. So let's go ahead and review it.
You too? Let's do it. Welcome to ZZ Talks review of WandaVision episodes 1 and 2. No, it wasn't corny till you said it. So yeah, so it's different from our normal show, and I believe we're gonna be doing this every Friday because they do the early Friday releases, and we want to give you our thoughts on it. So, what are your first impressions of the show, Zeus?
So I'm gonna go ahead and say, if you haven't seen previews, then definitely watch the preview. But if you don't, it's actually good to not watch the preview. So either or, right? It's not bad if you watch it,
So
or
definitely
you know
it
what I mean.
does.
It's either or. Like you go, if you watch it, cool. If you don't, if you're going in fresh, not knowing anything, it's actually it might be a little bit better, right? Because you kind of want to get an idea of where everything's going. So it was an interesting take on what we're used to seeing with them, right? Which I kind of enjoy when they do the certain type of things, even though I never saw it. New Mutants was supposed to be the first horror comic book movie, So this is kind of let's do the sitcom, but off the bat, you get the idea that there's something else going on.
Something's amiss.
Yeah, it's not really WandaVision translated as if it was an I Love Lucy show,
Yeah.
which is kind of, you get the motif off the bat. And then if you watch, so we're going to be talking about episode 1 and 2, the theme music or the opening credit changed from 1 and 2. So you kind of get an idea of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s last season, going through time.
Yeah, so right off the bat, and actually, I think I would say it's better to go in blind. I do kind of feel like, because I knew a bit about what the premise was, some of the awe or the shock factor was kind of taken away from it. That being said, we discussed it on episode 15 of our show, which is going to be up on YouTube pretty soon, about how this is more structured as a sitcom, at least for the first couple of episodes, maybe 3 episodes of the season. And so I was going in expecting, those kind of 50s, 60s sitcoms. I'm telling you, this thing was unexpectedly hilarious. Episode 1. I mean, yes, Elizabeth Olsen, did a good job as usual. I think Paul Bettany, his dry humor is hilarious, but Catherine Hahn stole the show. She's got such good comedic timing. That's the lady from Step Brothers. Yeah, she's got.
Catherine Hahn is like such an underrated actress.
Yeah.
Like, so she was the only character that I liked on Transparent. I don't know if you've ever seen Transparent.
I know the show, but I've never watched it.
I'm not a huge fan of that show, honestly, because it was rich people complaining about being rich to me. So I just didn't really care for it. But her character was the only, like, I only watched the first season. I was like, I'm not watching the rest of it. But Catherine Hahn was really good, and she actually got a nomination for that particular show, for that particular character. She's really, so as soon as I saw her in the show, I was like, all right, I'm gonna at least like her character, and she plays that whole, I guess the whimsical next door neighbor,
the friend next door, yeah, your neighbor on the right,
really
my right, not your right.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, so she was consistently funny throughout that whole thing. Though I will say, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not really a plot spoiler. It's just something that happened in the episode 1. The absolute funniest moment in episode 1 was in the office when the boss, Vision's boss, is telling him about dinner, and he's talking about, well, the last office dinner, or the last employee dinner I went to, ended up
didn't turn out
wrong.
Well.
And like, it's the back and forth between him and then Vision's colleague. It's like going, I don't know why, but like I feel like the words on the page weren't like anything super hilarious, but the delivery was so good. I was busting my ass laughing. I was like, I didn't expect it to be that funny. So anyway, so episode 1 happened, and like you said, those you could see a transition as far as from episode 1 to 2 with not only the change in the theme song, but the camera style. If you notice, episode 1 was very much the static camera where you have the set and it's like viewing the set and then you're moving back and forth. Whereas episode 2 seemed a lot more like if you want, it's like going from Friends to like a Parks and Rec, where you're like following the cast instead of like
Well,
a
I'm
static
pretty sure
camera.
that's a callback to the way that some shows happen, because it's more like going from I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver type of sitcom to going to, let's just say, Happy Days.
Yeah, it's
You know what I'm
transitioning
saying?
over
Like
time.
they would be able to zoom in more and do more because it's also the advancement of the camera.
Technology.
Option.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just basically they're moving along with it, which gives you the clue that it's going to continue doing that episode through episode, right? Or at least that's what I got out of it. Like, especially when they changed the theme from having an actual theme song to it's WandaVision, to the other one was more along the lines of. So I don't know which one that one is. I Love Lucy theme song like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I know that I Dream of Jeannie had cartoons in it.
Okay.
Which the second theme song has a cartoon opening credit. So
yes, it does.
I know that they're going to be hitting different. They hit different types of shows. So I'd be kind of interested to see what the third one's going to be.
Yeah. Okay. So to bottom line it before we get into our the spoiler section of our review, your thoughts on it? You think you're eager to see more? You think that they maybe missed the mark on the style that they chose to go with? What do you think?
I'm gonna say it's if you're into MCU, don't give up if you weren't as whelmed as you thought you would be. You know what I mean? Like if you see the previews between that one and like I was telling Zino before we started this, I saw the previews for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I can tell it's a different not direction. It's a different way of going about doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain that the way that they did these episodes, there's a reason for it, right? Because you kind of get clues, which we can go into the spoiler in a second. So I would say these first 2 episodes, if you're not as excited as, say when Endgame came out, obviously that wouldn't happen, but it's an investment. Let it. I'm pretty sure the payoff is going to be great. As far as this episode was concerned, it was a funny episode. It was funny. Like that was the right. It seems like that was a target kind of play. What's it called? Honor to like these older sitcoms and
homage.
Stuff. Homage to it. Yeah, exactly. So as far as the entertainment value, I was entertained through both episodes. I always enjoy whenever they do certain type of like when they do like a drama show does like a dream sequence where they're in a sitcom or you know what I mean, or like a horror movie or what. I'm always a huge fan of those. So basically, that's the way I'm looking at it. It's like going about these movies is doing an homage to these types of shows, which makes sense because this is the first MCU show.
Mm-hmm. So you said if you're into the MCU and you weren't,
as excited as most people, which I can see how some people will be.
But what about if you're not into the MCU? Do you think there's no reason to stick around if you're not into the MCU?
No, I think if you're not into MCU, you probably won't be watching it, but 2, because there's no way you're not into MCU and you're watching it because it's on Disney Plus. Why aren't you watching the other movies because they're on Disney Plus?
Right.
So I don't see anybody watching this who hasn't watched a lot of the MCU product before. Now, if this is the first introduction to the MCU for somebody, they might not be as entertained as we were because the fact is we know where these characters, the real placement of these characters, real world. But as far as an homage to like those 1950s shows and the 1960s shows, I really enjoyed that. So I was into the show the whole time, and I just really want to look forward to. I really can't wait for the next episodes just to kind of see where it goes from there.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Well, actually, no, I'm a little different on that. I actually thought they gave me enough there to where I was like, yeah, I'm invested. I think Especially towards the end of episode 1. I really felt like, okay, I really want to see where this goes forward. But we're going to touch more on that in a few seconds when we go into our spoiler part. So now you're going to see a glaring thing on your screen that says spoiler alerts. So if you haven't seen the episodes, go watch it and come back and watch the rest of our video on this. All right, now we're in spoiler territory. So we already touched on the fact that, the Catherine Hahn's character, being really funny and all that stuff. Let's talk about so the main I guess mischief of the episode was the fact that there was something happening on August 23rd. They had a heart on the calendar, and
that was funny as hell.
And neither of them knew what it was, right? And I'm thinking, oh, this is part of the mystery, like.
You know what I was thinking it was?
Uh-huh.
I was thinking it was the day that Vision died.
Oh well, that could be something, yeah. So I was thinking it's part of the mystery of the show, that why can't we remember anything, right? Because they were also alluding to the fact that they can remember how they got there, where they came from, when they married, that sort of thing. But then when it was discovered that Hart is for the boss, Mr. Hart, I was like, oh, that was a nice little misdirect, making us think that it was something more than it was. But then so obviously they have the dinner scene and all that stuff. Vision calling back to the song that Norm was playing in the office that he said was stupid lyrics, and then actually singing it out. So that was funny. I think Paul Bettany is great in it.
Paul Bettany is great. Real quickly, you want to know what my favorite line in episode 1 was? Where he was like, no, Mr. and Mrs. Hart, this is an abbreviation. She's like, you walk at the speed of light and I move things without touching them. We don't need to abbreviate.
Yeah, why are we abbreviating?
That was like the best line in the whole entire episode.
That was fantastic. So that whole dinner scene is happening, hilarity ensues, yada yada. It did feel very old-timey sitcom, which is kind of nice. And then when Mr. Hart starts choking, and then Fez, not Fez, not Kelso. What's the from that '70s show?
Oh, the main character. Eric's mom.
Eric's mom. So yeah, because the lady from that '70s show is
Joe Root. Her name is something Joe Root. Deborah Joe Root.
Yeah, there you go. So so when Mr. Hart is choking, she's like, "Oh, stop it!" I can't remember the guy's the first name, but she's like, "Oh, stop it! Oh, stop it!" But then she's like. She starts saying, "Oh, stop it," but she's like turned into Wanda saying, "Oh, stop it! Oh, stop it!" And then Wanda tells Vision to like save him, and so then I was like, "Wait, are they both aware that they are in a reality that's alternate from where they normally come from?"
So this is what I would say is, one, did you watch Infinity Wars?
Yeah.
I'm off the bat assuming he's not in on it. I'm assuming that off the bat she is which they touch on it in the second episode, right? I knew instantly that this was I don't know how they put her in this world. I'm thinking it's all mental. And what that part was part of the mental, I guess the barrier that they would put over her mind that would cause her to kind of break down. Which obviously now, if you think about it, it's interesting to find out when did she get here? Because at the end of the last episode, her and Hawkeye had that conversation, missed them and all that stuff. So you got to wonder what happened to her that got her there. But I'm assuming that this is all in her mind only. And that's why you see her breaking down and kind of her breaking that barrier.
So
in that
here's why I don't completely agree with that. When she said Vision help him, and like Vision acknowledged and he helped him, and then the couple left. Vision wasn't like what's going on or whatever. You would think if he's not in on it at that point, he'd be like, he would be shook, like what's happening. But he carried on just like she did. That's why I was like, maybe they're both.
No, we're in agreement now.
No, you said that she's the one doing it and Vision is dead. And I'm saying Vision seemed to be in on it because he didn't, react strangely
I'm getting the idea that Vision is acting according to whatever program is causing them to act. I'm feeling like she's in some type of program that that is putting her in an alternate world, and it's her brain slowly breaking it down, or somebody's trying to infiltrate it to get her to realize, hey, you're not in the real world right now.
So Vision has no autonomy in this world.
I don't think so, because he's dead.
Well, I mean, but she's
Then again, he
Scarlet
has a super
Witch.
ass computer, right?
She's Scarlet Witch.
Remember
She
what
could
he
have brought
said?
him
He's
back.
like,
Yeah.
you're like a computer. I'm absolutely not a computer.
Yeah, I mean, so anything could be possible there. I think somehow he's knowledgeable of it. But we are going to go into episode 2, which then kind of dispels that notion. So anyway, so he saves the guy, and then they walk out like nothing happened, and then we see our first glimpse of the outside world where they do the credits in black and white, and then they zoom out, and then you see it's color. It's on a TV, small TV like
Somebody's writing down a notepad. They're taking notes.
Right. So that's that's when we're like, oh, okay, here we go. It's like Fringe or something.
And that's what I would say to anybody who maybe wasn't as interested during that. That will bring you back in to make you realize, okay, there's a lot more going on that I need to kind of wait it out and see.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that happened, I percolated it up a little bit and started like, okay, what's going on here?
Well, I did that during the dinner scene when she was being like, stop it, and then like she was saying stop it in the same tone, but you could tell that she was almost like scared when she was saying it. It almost feels. Actually, no, I don't want to get into that because that might be spoilery, like really spoilery. But it almost feels like she's captive in Wanda's. Like Wanda is the one doing it, like completely, as opposed to Wanda being.
So there's 2 possibilities then, right? It's Wanda is either entrapped in something inside a computer program or in some type of program that's causing her to think this, or what you're saying is to compensate for Vision's death. Maybe I see what you're saying.
Maybe she's trapping everyone else.
She's doing this for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
To everybody.
So I think that it's possible that that's happening. So anyway, so episode 1 ends, episode 2 starts, and like you said, it was the new intro. I noticed it right off the bat, probably because we were watching it back to back. So we noticed that it's a different intro. And in the intro they wrote Westview Plains or what? Is it West? Yeah, Westview. Which if you remember in episode 1, they didn't know where they couldn't name the place, and they didn't know where they came from, all that stuff. So like they start like adding things, and they're starting to flesh out their story and understanding where they're from, because it's probably like, okay, last time people asked us, we didn't know what to answer. So yeah, so it seemed like they were building up on their story, or their alias, or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And episode 2 was still kind of very sitcom-y. I think episode 1 was funnier than 2. I do I did like that it didn't take too long before some thing to tie us back to the real crux of the story happened, and that was like, I think that was only like 7 minutes into the episode where the color barrier was broken, and we saw the helicopter that was red and not green. So that was the first thing that happened. I want to see what Catherine Hahn's role is in the bigger scheme of things. I don't think she's just the next door neighbor.
I don't think so either. I told my wife that I have a feeling she's probably like, in the real world, she's probably the programmer or probably like an evil scientist. I just feel like she will probably either be the villain or be like the biggest ally in the real world. Like maybe Wanda's a friend of Wanda's from a while ago, and they just used it because it's similar, so it doesn't cause her, to create that similarity. Like, I was actually going to disagree with you though. I actually thought episode 2 to me was a little bit funnier.
Yeah,
it was a little bit funnier to me, especially the where they're doing the magic tricks. That to me was like a hilarious part where he's getting frustrated because he's giving her the wrong card, or she turns the piano to a cardboard cutout, and the guy was like, "That was my grandma's piano."
Yeah. I think that guy is hilarious because he was the funny part from episode 1 too, with the boss.
With the boss.
The guy who said that's my grandma's piano. Yeah, I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't like I didn't laugh out loud. I laughed out loud in episode 1. But yeah, so then the guy asking Wanda, who's doing this to you, which also then makes me think, okay, maybe someone's doing it to Wanda, or maybe the guy thinks someone's doing it to Wanda.
That scene is very important. If anybody has read ahead, there's a character that's introduced.
Okay, well,
okay,
yeah.
So let's just say we have met, and I hate to say the black lady because I don't know her, but I don't know her name. The actress Geraldine.
Mm-hmm.
We have met Geraldine before. If you've been watching MCU, we have met her before, so we know her from the past. That's all I'm going to say, especially because I want you to stick with it. So Zeno's going to not know too much. Do not go on Wikipedia, sir, because that's what ruined it for me. So don't go on Wikipedia for the WandaVision episode. But don't hurt your little head over it. Like you'll know.
There's only one other person then, because there's only one movie that's based in the past that's not in the 1940s. Captain Marvel. Right. Anyway,
don't ruin it for yourself.
You ruined it. You were the one who put it
just
out
chill
there.
out. But as soon as you met her, you knew that was an important character. Because also you got to think about the time. In that time, black and white weren't hanging out at this time. Like black couples and black families were not in the same suburbs as white families. So that's I would think that's important, or maybe it's just oversight to see, like, we have we're not going to see color in this kind of case. But I feel like that was important too, to kind of notice that, like, you have a Latino, he has a Latino coworker, a black coworker. You know what I mean? Like, you can, so off the bat, based off of that alone, that this isn't based in the actual real world. So that's why I'm still on the idea that this is a simulation. But in that particular scene, when you meet her, she also has a conversation with, I guess, the bitchy neighbor. I guess that would be the mean queen.
Her name, the blonde one.
Yeah, and she's the mean queen or whatever. And then that's when you hear, which sounded to me, which I know it's not, but it sounded to me like Steve Rogers. That's what I kind of heard.
It did sound like him. Right? Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I don't think so. I don't think it's him. But
I don't think
it definitely sounded
because,
like him.
We know that he's not involved. Like, we know that Chris Evans isn't involved because he just debunked the whole idea of. But that might also be a swerve.
We don't know that. Yeah.
We don't know. But yeah, and it's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's doing this to you? And then what happens is that radio that she's hearing it from explodes, and then the girl cuts her hands, and it's a red blood.
Yeah,
so it's another color.
It's colored again. Yeah. Okay. So all that happens, the magic show, and then we skip to the end, where they're hearing that sound from the beginning of the episode, and they go out again, and they see this guy come out from the manhole like a Ninja Turtle, and she's like no, which is then it then makes you think again. Okay, she's the one that's controlling this. But Vision didn't react. Now, they didn't show Vision, so maybe he did react. But now it goes back to, you might be right that it's her thing and not her and Vision together doing the thing.
Damn. Actually, you know what? You're right. She's the one that said no, and it's like she pressed rewind.
Yeah, she rewinded it. She's like, no.
The two possibilities there. She is completely controlling it, or her saying no is just an involuntary reaction from whoever's controlling it.
Okay.
Doing the rewind. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
what I took away was that that guy would end this thing that this life she's built with Vision, and she didn't want that to end. That was my takeaway.
So the guy he was in the beekeeper's outfit, and he came out with bees flying around him out of the sewer. Was he in color?
He was, I think. Yes, he was.
But the bees weren't, right? I didn't see bees in color. I only saw him.
I didn't even realize there were bees, but yeah. I believe
I hope there were bees, and I hope I'm not just making that up.
I believe he was in color. Well, I thought it was more like a spacesuit, to be honest. But
no, I saw beekeepers, then I heard bees, so I figured it was a beekeeper's outfit. And then, like you said, they rewind it, and then all of a sudden, Vision is in color.
So she's pregnant. Vision is
pregnant. Yeah, pregnant. No, the pregnant happened before. So she got pregnant. That happened. They heard the noise outside,
you're right.
Walked out. Then she rewinded it. and then she's still pregnant, but now Vision is in color, and then now and then she's turning around. So that's kind of breeds in a little bit more into what you're saying. She's controlling it because she seems like she had changed it in color. So now you got to wonder what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also passage of time is much faster in that place than from episode to episode. They've like jumped as far as like the camera technology from episode to episode. Episode to episode, they're now having color. So if she got pregnant, she had like a 6-month bump, in the space of a scene. So I think time is like moving much differently than we're used to. So that's another factor there. I think it's setting up a very interesting prospect. I do think they have to come off the sitcom angle fairly soon. I don't think if they have more than half the season be a sitcom thing, I don't think that's a good idea. Because yes, you're trying to tell this overarching story, but if you're fluffing most of it with the sitcom thing, I think people will be kind of upset.
I don't know how much the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is an influence on it, but I'm getting a lot of influence from there. And I'm honestly thinking they're going to do the same thing. Because you remember how the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which as of today, I still haven't finished, so please don't tell me the ending. But remember each episode they went from they went to the 30s and they went to and then they changed the theme songs as that went too. They changed the way they did the camera angles and all stuff. So I'm kind of getting a lot of influence from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into this. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same way where they're going instead of course, in that time it's time travel. In this case, it's more along the lines of it just seems like there's some type of simulation that's causing Wanda to be in an alternate world is it to maintain her? Is it to control her? Is it for her to just bring back Vision? So interesting. It's an interesting concept, and that's why I said the first 2 episodes are an investment, man. Like, how many episodes is there going to be? Do you know?
9 is what I saw.
9. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up. Score out of 10. What do you want me to give mine first, or you want to give yours?
Give yours first. Keep in mind, 7 is good. 7 is no. What's average?
I was just gonna say mine and then tell you what I think. Like why I'm giving it that. That being said, I'm gonna give it. I'm scoring the 2 together. As like a 1 hour episode. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5. I think the intrigue aspect of it has me wanting to come back for more, which is always really good. I think the majority of episode 2 for me was the weaker of the 2 episodes, which is why it dropped its score. I was actually going to give it an 8 out of 10, but upon thinking back on it, I was like, I don't know. Episode 2 is not something that I want to go back and watch again, even though there was a lot of stuff that happened. But the main story, the whole magic trick stuff, I was like, nah. I wasn't as into that. So I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, which is a good score.
This is why I say that me and you are like Hank Hill and his wife. Like when he told Bobby that, yeah, she likes a firm bed and I like an extra firm bed. It's true what they say, opposites attract. Because even we're the same way, because actually I'm the opposite. Episode 1, I honestly would have given, and keep in mind, technically speaking, on a scale of 1 to 10, 6 is an average, right? Or 5 is an average, because that's just like, hey, that's middle ground. That's still good. And then 6 is above, so I would have given it like a 6.5 because it was still interesting. I laughed here and there, but I kind of realized, okay, it's a shtick. Episode 2, I really enjoyed. Episode 2, I would give that one a solid 7.5. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7, like for both episodes.
Okay.
But the things that got me on both of these episodes was the glimpse into the Ghost in the Shell. You know, the last part of episode, you know, where she's choking. Those are the things that are really grabbing me. So that's what I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. So for me, a nice little 7.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that wraps up our first review of WandaVision episodes 1 and 2. We're gonna do this every week for each episode. We'll try to do it. I know it's a work day, Friday, but you know we'll get our reviews out there. And yeah, thanks for watching. And please leave us a comment of your review of the episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, watch the episodes. Give you a score out of 10 as well. Like,
Perfect.
share, and subscribe. Thank you.